Hi guys, Fred here. Welcome back to part 2 of the course, and this is where the course gets very exciting when we start to take a look at the first betting system, the Midas Touch Betting System. Now, I'm sure most of you who are taking this course are familiar on how betting prices work, but for those who are not, here is just a quick word on the subject of decimal pricing. Now, in tennis trading and our betting systems, unlike traditional betting odds, which are usually priced in fractional odds format, i.e. horse number 7 is the 2-to-1 favourite, we actually use decimal pricing odds, as this makes life so much easier when trading and working out value. So decimal pricing is just simply a different way of stating a certain price. Now, to change price from fractional to decimal, if fractional odds is what you've been used to in the past, you very simply divide the first number by the second number and add 1. It's literally as easy as that. So a horse or tennis player at odds of 2-to-1 would have a decimal price of 3.0. We will always be working in decimal pricing, and lucky for us, so do the online bookies. And so now if we have a look specifically at tennis pricing, again, I know most of you guys doing this course will know how tennis pricing works, but just to ensure we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, I'll just go through some basics of tennis pricing. So the price of a player starts at 1.01 and goes up to 1,000. The more likely a player is to win, the closer to 1.01 the price will move, and the losing player will move closer to the 1,000.0 mark. Now, when players are very evenly matched, they will both be close to 2.0, or evens as we call it. So if you were to place a back bet or a trade of £1 at 1.01 and the player went on to win, you would make a profit of 0.01 pence. Now, this shows you that the price of 1.01 pretty much implies that the player is on the verge of winning the match. If you were to place a back bet or trade of £1 at odds of 2, you would make a £1 profit, a profit of 100%, as you would also be returned your £1 stake. So basically, you multiply your stake by the price, remembering that the amount you get back will include your stake. Okay, so let's now move on with the betting system. So step 1, decide on a bank size to use solely for this betting system. Now, this should be money you do not need for anything else, and money that if you were to lose the whole lot, it would not in any way affect your standard of living. For the purpose of simplicity and to show you an example of exactly how this betting system works, we're going to use an example bank of £100 set aside to use solely for this betting system. Now, this betting system is not a flat staking system, so the stake amount for each bet that you will place on a player will depend on the player's starting price. So essentially what we do here is we place lower stakes on players with a higher starting price and higher stakes on lower priced players. Let me show you what I mean. There are basically 3 levels of stakes. Number 1, we will use 10% stakes on a player's odds of up to 1.5. We use 5% stakes on a player's odds of between 1.51 to 1.90. And finally, we will use 2.5% stakes on a player's odds of 1.91 upwards. And just to be clear, these percentage stakes are the percentage of your total bank set aside for this system. So your 10% stakes will be 10% of your bank. In our example £100 bank, 10% would be a £10 stake. A 5% stake would of course be £5, and a 2.5% stake would be £2.50. 50. So let me show you this staking plan in a real life situation. Now these matches were played very recently at the Australian Open 2019. So let's go through these prices to see what exactly our stakes would be on each of these matches. So with Halep Williams, Serena Williams had a starting price of 1.34. So as it's below 1.5, we place a 10% stake, which with our £100 trading bank, we bet £10 at 1.34. Now this gave us a profit of £3.40. With Pliskova started the match at odds of 1.73. Now because she's over 1.51 and below 1.90, we place 5% stake, which is £5, and this gave us a profit of £3.65. With Naomi Osaka, who actually went on to win the Australian Open, against Sevastova, she had a starting price of 1.57, which means of course we place a 5% stake, which again with our £100 trading bank is £5. And this gave us a profit of £2.85. And then finally with Svitolina started the match at odds of 2.46. So with the staking plan, we put down a 2.5% stake, which of course is £2.50, and this gave us £3.65 profit. Now, one thing you may have noticed here, which is actually very clever, and it's the way the system works, is that although the prices are all very different and our staking is very different, the actual profit that we receive from each game is actually very similar. And this is the magic of this betting system. Now remember, we are only ever betting the largest stakes of 10% on players whose odds are very low and therefore very likely to win. The purpose of the system is to provide profits over the long term, therefore giving you incredible long-term value. Now, very similarly to trading the tennis markets, your profit and loss balance will most probably not be in a straight line most months. However, the overall trajectory should be upwards over the long term. Let's have a look at some profit and loss charts to show you exactly what I mean. Now, if I just explain what this chart is, this is a profit and loss chart from May 2018. In May 2018, we had the Madrid Open, and then at the end of May, it was the French Open beginning. So on the vertical axis, you have got the profit and loss in pounds, and on the horizontal axis, you've literally just got the days of the month, 1 going up to 31. Now the first thing you'll notice is that the lower line is very up and down. This is basically your daily profit and loss, and this is very typical of what a profit and loss chart will look like when you look at your daily trades or your daily bets. These charts are very similar whether you're trading tennis matches or using one of the betting systems. You will always have ups and downs like this on your daily profit and loss. However, the line that we are most interested in is the line above this one, which is in an upward trajectory. Now this is your rolling profit and loss. So although the bottom line is going up and down quite dramatically, you'll notice the upper line is heading in the right direction. It's heading upwards. And actually, by the end of this month, the profit, or the rolling profit, was £25. Now this is just on a £100 bank, so this equates to a 25% return on investment. There really are not that many ventures out there that provide a 25% return on investment for a relatively passive pastime. So if then we look at the profit and loss chart for the whole of 2018, you'll see again the lower line is very up and down. This is the monthly profit and loss. So some months you're making more than others. Some months there's some great months, some months there's some very low months. One I can see there is In August, there wasn't such a great month, but then in September it picked up. But again, the important thing to note here is your rolling profit and loss, which is the upper line. So as you can see, by the end of the year, you will see that our total profit was £200. And remember, this was off a £100 trading bank. So essentially, you've trebled your trading bank. If this had been a £1,000 trading bank, you would have made a profit of £2,000. If it was a £10,000 trading bank, you would have made a profit of £20,000 from a relatively passive income stream. Now, there is a variation of this strategy or betting system which enables you to grow your profits at a much faster rate, and this is called the Midas Touch ratchet system. It's a nice simple variation on the strategy, and basically all you need to do is each time your bank grows, you adjust your stake in proportion to your bank. Now, I would recommend doing this on a weekly or monthly basis. If you do this on a daily basis, starting with a relatively small bank, then it can be quite a laborious task. So yeah, my recommendation is do it on a weekly or monthly basis. And just one other thing to note here is that with any system that looks to grow your profits much quicker, there will of course be larger risk involved. So just be aware of that when actually using this ratchet system. Higher reward, but ultimately high risk. So we're going to take a look at a couple of examples here, starting with Jack, to show you how the ratchet system works. So Jack began with a trading bank of £100, so his staking amounts are £2.50, £5 and £10. Now at the end of month one, Jack made a profit of £25, and this represents a 25% return on investment. So his total bank is now £125. So next month, using the ratchet system, his stakes will increase to £3.12, which is the 2.5%, £6.25, which was the 5%, and £12.50, which was the 10% stake, which last month was just £10. By month 6, Jack has grown his bank by 150%, so his bank is now worth £250. So therefore, using this ratchet system, his 2.5% stakes are up to £6.25, £12.50 for his 5% stakes, and up to £25 for his 10% stakes. Now remember, he started in month one with £10 stakes for this 10% stakes. He's now staking £25, so you can see how the profit can grow very quickly over a short period of time. So let's now take a look at Lauren. Now, Lauren's trading bank, she started with a trading bank of £2,000. Now this is much more realistic in terms of what most of our members have as their trading banks. If you want to make decent profits, you're really looking at about at least a £1,000 trading bank to actually bring in some decent profit. So Lauren began with a trading bank of £2,000 in month one. So her staking amounts are £50, £100 and £200. At the end of month one, Lauren made a profit of £500, and again this is 25% profit. So her total bank is now worth £2,500. So in month two, her stakes will be £62.50 for the 2.5% stakes, £125 for the 5% stakes, and £250 for the 10% stakes. That's literally all a 25% increase on last month. By month 6, Lauren has grown her bank by 150%, so her bank is now worth £5,000. So therefore, her stakes now in month 6 are £175 for the 2.5% stakes, £250 for the 5% stakes, and £500 for the 10% stakes. This is £500 up from £200 in month 1. Okay, just to summarise the ratchet system. First of all, follow the usual staking rules for the Midas Touch betting system of the 2.5%, 5% and 10% stakes. Each time your bank grows, adjust your stake in proportion to your bank total. Now, my recommendation is to make this adjustment on a weekly or monthly basis, and only ever adjust your stakes positively, i.e. never reduce your stakes, only adjust them upwards. And finally, please be aware that by using the ratchet system, it does of course carry a higher degree of risk than the usual Midas Touch betting system. So that brings us to the end of part 2. I really hope you found this section interesting. And in part 3, we'll be taking a look at the second betting system, Fibonacci's Profit Accumulator. I'll see you in part 3.